Hey students, Mr. Passeri here with another exciting social studies lesson for the YouTube channel. I've got my airborne and my daddy pig cup and my thirst for knowledge going and my thirst for airborne going because I caught my daughter's respiratory infection and I've been laid out on the couch all weekend and I'm at least going to be out tomorrow. I'll be back sooner than later, so don't panic with sadness or start bursting into massive celebration if you don't like me, because either way I'm coming back. So you can just all, calm your emotions one way or the other. But I'll tell you this. Today, you are going to be learning about the complexities of human beings in history. Very few times is there someone all good or all bad. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you guys think of yourselves, right? You do good things sometimes, you do bad things other times. And just because you do bad things doesn't mean that those bad things necessarily define you. And just because you do good things doesn't mean that they just erase the bad things, right? And, you can understand this from, real life examples, but you can also understand this from even more important examples, like Dragon Ball Z. This guy right here, this is Vegeta, okay? Very interesting guy. Someone who has trained in outer space, in asteroid showers, pushing himself to unfathomable limits of strength that transcend all sense of logic. He's someone who cares deeply for his family and friends and has saved the earth on multiple occasions. But he is also someone who at one point in time was a henchman for the evil space emperor Frieza, and Vegeta enthusiastically enslaved people and blew up planets. So yeah, he's a bit of a mixed bag right here. So what does that make Vegeta? Does it make him a good guy? Does it make him a bad guy? Does it make him both? I mean, I don't know. That's your call to make right here. And guys, it's not just Vegeta who is a mixed bag. There's other people of a lot of importance, like Skeletor from He-Man. Take a look at this, people, will ya?
So you're cold. Oh, blast it.
Oh, I'm warm again.
I said leave him. Now move. Oh, blast it. I don't know what's coming over me. Oh, stop licking my face, you dratted dog. Oh, stop that.
Do you want me to hold him?
No, we'll go faster if I carry him.
Thank you, Mr. Skeletor. You saved us. You really are wonderful.
But, I don't know what's happening to me, but I must save the children.
He saved us.
He saved you?
Yes, I guess I did. Oh.
Don't worry, Skeletor. Christmas only comes once a year.
Thank goodness.
Wow, powerful stuff, right? So, as we can see from Skeletor and Vegeta, and from your own selves, right? People are complicated. You know who else is complicated? Christopher Columbus, who we're going to be talking about today in some detail. So what we're going to basically be doing, guys, is in Google Classroom, you are going to click on your Christopher Columbus hero or villain assignment, and I'm going to read some documents to you that show you the good and the bad of Christopher Columbus. You're going to take some time and answer some questions, and then you're going to formulate your own opinion on the man, the myth, the legend, the hero, the villain, Christopher Columbus, who, by the way, is not as cool as Detective Columbo. He's just the best. Columbo is better than Columbus, and he's fantastic. So I'll show you guys clips of Columbo at another time. But anyway, let's talk about Christopher Columbus. Okay, so Christopher Columbus kept a very detailed journal throughout his entire voyage, and here's a section from it right now, so you can be a little creepy and read Christopher Columbus's diary right here. It goes a little something like this. I presented them with some red caps and strings of beads to wear upon the neck, and many other trifles, that's things, of small value, wherewith they were much delighted and became wonderfully attached to us. Afterward, they came swimming to the boats, bringing parrots and balls of cotton thread, javelins, and many other things they exchanged for articles we gave them, such as glass beads and hawk's bells, which trade was carried on with the utmost goodwill. That happened on October 11th, on 1492, right after Columbus sailed the ocean blue. So what do you guys think is happening in this passage? Well, I'm going to tell you the first one right here. Columbus is meeting the natives, okay? He's meeting the natives, and, they have never seen a white person before. They're like, what the heck is that? There's some pale dude. They're wearing crazy pants. They have stuff they've never seen before, and they're trading, right? And so Columbus is writing this down. So, this is the kind of stuff that they're exchanging, right? The Indians are giving them their best, and the Spanish are giving them, I don't know, whatever the Indians think is interesting, like glass beads and, that kind of thing. So, okay. But let's take a look at a little more of what Columbus wrote, and let's delve a little deeper into his diary. Dear diary. It's me, Christopher. That's not what he said. In order that they might develop a friendly disposition, that's attitude, towards us, because I knew they were a people who could better be freed and converted to our holy faith by love rather than by force, gave to them some red caps, and to others glass beads, which they hung on their necks, and many others things of slight value, which they took much pleasure. They remained so much our friends that it was a marvel. Later they came swimming to the ships, boats in which we were, and brought us parrots and cotton threads, skins and darts, and many other things, and we swapped them for other things that we gave them, such as little glass beads, hawk's bells. Finally, they traded and gave everything they had with goodwill. So this is the whole passage of what we just read. But it appeared to me that these people were very poor in everything. They bear no arms. Not that they didn't have arms, they didn't have weapons like the Spanish, right? For I showed them swords, and they grasped them by the blade and cut themselves through ignorance. They have not iron. Their darts are a kind of rod without iron, and some have at the end fish's tooth and other things. The people are generally fairly tall and good-looking, well-built. I saw some who had marks of wounds on their bodies, and signed to them to ask what it was, and they showed me that people of other islands which were near there and wished to capture them, that they defended themselves. And I believed and believe that people do come here from mainland to make them as slaves. They ought to be good servants and of good skill, for I believe that they would easily be made Christians, because it seems to me they belong to no religion. I please our Lord will carry off 6 of them at my departure to your highness, that they may learn to speak. I saw no animal of any kind on this island except for parrots. So there's that. So there's Columbus's take on the natives right there. So he's basically saying the Spanish are, the Indians are giving more to the Spanish of value than the Spanish are giving them in terms of the Spanish perception of value, right? So the Indians are giving the Spanish like, here's our weapons, here's all our cool stuff, and the Spanish are like, well, I don't know, what do you like here? We got beads. I mean, these are, well, so like, I don't know, like, so the Indians are just like wowed by anything the Spanish are giving them, and even if the Spanish don't value it a lot, Columbus is also seeing. You got to remember, guys, ideals and interests, right? That these people, according to Columbus, are, since they're so friendly and so accepting of everything Columbus is doing, he thinks they will be easily converted to Christianity, right? And remember, Isabella wants to spread Christianity. That was kind of the part of the reasons that the Spanish rationalized sailing to new areas, to go spread Christianity. And then the bottom line reason, the greedy reason, is because they want money, they want slaves, and they want power. And because the Indians are so nice and seemingly so weak, Columbus thinks that he's going to get, slaves, Christians, and, there's a lot of promise for power in this new area. So that's what Columbus is saying in this passage here. So what I would like you guys to do is take some time. You can pause the video. Tell me 3 things Columbus describes about the natives in this passage. And then you tell me, based on this passage, does Columbus consider the natives to be his equals? Why or why not? Based on what we just read here, do you think he thinks the natives are his equals? Why or why not? You can pause the video and go answer these questions. Okay, and now we're back. All right, let's go do the next reading right here. So guys, this right here, this fellow is named Joel Barlow, and he was an American poet who lived from 1754 to 1812, and the following is an excerpt of his poem, The Vision of Columbus, which hailed the explorer as a hero. Pretty much anytime you see a title like The Vision of Someone, that's a good indicator that it's going to be pretty positive. So let's take a look at what it has to say here. This extraordinary man, who was now about 27 years of age, appears to have united his character, every trait, and have possessed every talent requisite to form and execute the greatest enterprise. He was eagerly educated in all the useful sciences that were taught in his day. He had made great proficiency in geography, astronomy, and drawing, as they were necessary to his favorite pursuit of navigation. He had now been a number of years in the service of the Portuguese and had acquired all of the expertise that their voyages and discoveries could afford. His courage and perseverance had been put to the severest test, and with the exercise of every admirable and heroic virtue rendered him universally known and respected. Such was the situation of Columbus when he formed and thoroughly digested a plan which, in its operation and consequences, unfolded to the view of mankind one half of the globe, diffused wealth and dignity over the other, and extended commerce and civilization through the whole. Okay, so he uses a lot of complicated words because, people in the 1700s and 1800s, they liked to use big words. It made them feel smart and important, So, they didn't tend to use a lot of memes. They just tended to, just wanted to always go like this when they talked, right? Anyway, the long story short of what this guy is saying right here is that Columbus spread culture. He spread what this guy would consider to be civilization, which would be, the European way of doing things. Making America more like what we today would consider it. Like we're not living in the woods like the Indians. We've got houses, we've got churches, we've got roads, we've got that kind of thing. And in this guy's poem, Columbus is the start of these things. And he's also talking about, what a respected and heroic explorer Columbus was, and how he knew all about exploration and how to find things at sea, which again is more than the average person can do. So this is what this guy's saying about Columbus right here. So let's take a look. Why don't you guys pause the video and answer this questions. What are 4 things that the author, whose name is Barlow, writes about Columbus? Tell me 4 things that this guy's talking about old CC here, Christopher Columbus, right here. So pause the tape, pause the video, and I'll see you when you're done. Okay, welcome back. Good stuff, good stuff. Bartolome de las Casas. Yes, he is a Catholic priest. And he is someone who, like Vegeta, started out as a conqueror, but then as time passed, he turned into a good guy. Right here, yeah. And his hair turned blue. No, that's not true. De las Casas' hair did not turn blue. He did not achieve Super Saiyan Blue status when he turned into a good guy who fought against slavery. But so basically, this guy started out with the Spanish conquering Cuba and was eventually compelled to oppose what he saw to be atrocities committed against natives, and he wrote about, what he saw in the most brutal ways possible to really get the point across to people of how bad the natives were having it under the Spanish. Okay, let's check this out. The Spaniards grew more conceited, which means like careless and mean, every day, and after a while refused to walk any distance. They rode on the backs of Indians as they were in a hurry, or carried on hammocks by Indians, running in relays. They thought nothing of they thought nothing of knifing Indians by 10s and 20s and cutting slices off of them to test the sharpness of their blades. They, the Spaniards, took infants from their mothers' breasts, snatching them by the legs and pitching them head first against a rock face, or snatching them by the arms and threw them into the rivers, roaring with laughter as the babies fell into the water. Boil there, you offspring of the devil. End quote. So people have kind of 2 opinions on De las Casas right here, this priest. One opinion is he is exposing the brutal and terrible and villainous and evil treatment that the Spanish did to the natives. The other school of thought says that he was exaggerating what he was saying because terrible things were happening to the Indians that he saw, but the only way he really felt that he could convince people to do something about it was to be as over the top as possible in his descriptions of the brutality committed against the Indians. Now, those are the kind of the interpretations that different people have on De las Casas. We know that the Indians were brutalized and mistreated by the Spanish, but there's also people that take De las Casas with kind of a grain of salt because they know he was very much trying to hammer a point across and making it seem as brutal as possible. So, what are some of the things that De las Casas describes? And do you consider him a reliable source? Why or why not? And there's no right or wrong answer to that second one. I want you just to think about it. Pause the tape and answer the questions. See you in a minute. Welcome back. All right, here we go. Okay, gang. So right here we got another article. Okay, Dr. Warren Carroll is a leading Catholic historian and author. So that means she's probably going to like Christopher Columbus, because Christopher Columbus is a Catholic explorer. So there's that. And the founder of Christendom College. He received his PhD in history from Columbia University. The following excerpt is from an article he wrote for the Catholic Social Science Review. Let's see what he has to say about old Chris Columbus. Let us begin, therefore, by defining the word discovery. In the context of history, a discovery is made when an individual or a nation finds something or someone or some people or some places of special importance not previously known to them, when any previously unknown person is first found by another people. that people may be said to have been discovered. People as well as places can be discovered. The fact that people live in places unknown to other people does not mean that they and the places they live cannot be discovered. This is a lot of the word discovered. No people by any other part of the world ever discovered Europe, but Europeans discovered all other parts of the world. Well, so did the other people and the other parts of the world that the Europeans found. But whatever, let's just go on with what this guy is saying here. In all of history, only the Europeans and the Polynesians, which are the people of South Pacific, have been true discoverers, sailing for the explicit purpose of finding new lands, trading with their people, and colonizing them. And of all the discoverers, here's the interesting part, Christopher Columbus was the greatest because he accomplished the most against the highest odds. Before Columbus's time, all European voyages had followed coastlines or crossed open seas to lands previously known, or at least sighted by storm-driven ships. But only Columbus set off directly across a broad, unknown sea with no specific knowledge of how far it extended or what lay on the other side. So, this guy, the most important thing I want you to pay attention to is this last paragraph here, because he's saying what makes Columbus special. He's like, listen, people, they sailed all over the place. They discovered all kinds of things. The Europeans, in this guy's opinion, were the most impressive when it came to that kind of thing. But out of all the sailors and all the explorers, Columbus was the best, according to this guy, because Columbus had the guts to, put his money where his mouth is and take the risk and sail west. Columbus had ideas of what he might find, but he had no idea of what would actually happen. I mean, it took guts to basically sail into the unknown and put your theory into practice for the betterment of your beliefs and the furthering of your potential. It's like he had the courage to throw that long touchdown pass. He didn't just throw it, 5 yards and a shovel pass. He threw it, 90 yards, Hail Mary, literally, because he was a Catholic, to go win the game. And he hit something. He hit Cuba. All right, so in the end zone. So according to this author, why is Columbus the greatest of the discoverers? You heard what I think. I think that I got the right. If you listen to what I said, I think that's a pretty solid answer. If you guys have something different, you can write that down. Take some time, answer that question, and we'll talk about it, in a bit. So answer that question. And welcome back. All right, good deal. All right, gang, got another article here. So this is from an essay titled "The Columbian Exchange" from 1972. Describes the lasting impact of Christopher Columbus. All right, here we go, guys. So, millions of years ago, the continental drift carried the Old and New World, that's basically Europe and America, apart, splitting North and South America from Eurasia and Africa. I left out Africa. The separation lasted so long, it fostered divergent evolution. For instance, the development of rattlesnakes on one side of the Atlantic and vipers on the other. After 1492, human voyages in part reversed this tendency. When Europeans first touched the shores of the Americas, Old World crops such as wheat, barley, rice, and turnips had not traveled west across the Atlantic, and the New World crops such as maize, white potatoes, sweet potatoes, and Minoic, I have no idea what that is, had traveled east to Europe. In America, there were no horses, cattle, sheep, goats, all animals of the Old World origin, except for the llama, alpaca, dog, and a few fowl, which are birds, and guinea pigs. We got a pet guinea pig in the special ed room, so go say hi to Cinnamon. The New World had no equivalents to domesticated animals, like Cinnamon, who's adorable, associated with the Old World. nor did it have pathogens, which are diseases. There's one of your science words right there, associated with the old world. Dense populations of humans. Among these germs were those that carried smallpox, measles, chickenpox, the flu, malaria, and yellow fever. Speaking of sickness right there. The Columbian exchange of crops affected both the old and new Amerindian crops that crossed the ocean. For example, maize to China, white potato to Ireland have been stimulants to population growth in the Old World. The Old World's crops and livestock have had much the same effect in the Americas. For example, wheat in Kansas, beef in Texas and Brazil. I love a nice T-bone steak. Well, the cows don't, but the crucial factor was not the exchange of people, plants, or vegetables or animals, but of germs. The history of the United States began with Virginia and Massachusetts. We'll talk about that. And their histories began with epidemics of unidentified diseases. And the time of the Virginia colony at Roanoke in the 1580s, the nearby Amerindians began to die quickly. The disease was so strange that they neither knew what it was or how to cure it. When the Pilgrims settled at Plymouth, Massachusetts in 1620, they did so in a village on the coast nearly cleared of American Indians by recent epidemic. Thousands had died in a great plague not long since, and a pity it was as so many to see so many goodly fields. I don't know why that's weird to say, and so well seated without men to dress and manure the same. Smallpox was the worst and most spectacular of the infectious diseases, mowing down the Native Americans. American Indians were accustomed to living in one particular kind of environment, Europeans and Africans in another. When the Old World people came to America, they brought with them their plants, their animals, and their germs, creating an environment to which they were already adapted, and so increased the number. And so they increased in number. American Indians had not adapted to European germs, so initially their numbers plunged. So this guy wrote an article in 1972, Alfred Crosby. He's talking about, listen, a lot of stuff went back and forth in the Columbian exchange. So when Columbus found America, the Europeans brought with them animals and goods and all this other stuff. The Indians traded back with them. But the most powerful thing that came with the Europeans was germs. Because the Indians did not. We're having coronavirus right now, guys. Obviously, right? We just got the vaccines, and you saw what not having a vaccine, did when you didn't know how to deal with the virus, right? We're either cooped up, scared. Some people, sadly, didn't make it, because their bodies couldn't take the virus. So same situations with these Indians, right? Except, they didn't have vaccines back then. So huge disaster of germs for the Indians. But that's one side of this, right? It's not all just bringing culture and new ideas. It's, these Indians had a way of life, for centuries and centuries. And now all of a sudden you got these white people with germs, and the Indians are just getting shredded by disease. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Who benefited most from the Columbian exchange, and who suffered? So take some time, pause the tape, think about it. We got one more reading to go. And we're back. All right, good deal. Okay, gang, one more. On October 10th, 1492, just before landing in the Americas, Christopher Columbus wrote about the struggles he had and his crew faced. They, the crew, could stand it no longer. They grumbled and complained for the long voyage, and I reproached them for their lack of spirit. That's like, he's kind of like, no, bad crew. Telling them that for better or worse, they had to complete the enterprise on which the Catholic sovereigns, that's King and Queen, Ferdinand and Isabella, had sent them. I cheered them on as best I could, telling them all the honors and rewards they were about to receive. And I told the men it was useless to complain, for I had started out to find the Indies and would continue until I accomplished that mission with the help of our Lord. Christopher Columbus, 1492. So basically what he's saying in this, journal entry here is that the crew was freaking out. His team was losing it. They were just going nuts. And he, as the captain of the ship, stepped up and said, "Get your crap together. We are sailing for the King and Queen of Spain. We're in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. We're not turning back. We're past the point of no return. We're doing this for God and country. So man up, buttercup, and let's get to going." All right, so that's pretty much what Columbus was saying right there. So guys, how would you describe Columbus's leadership qualities in that passage? And then what I want you to do for the final part of this lesson is I want you to tell me, do you consider Columbus a hero, a villain, both? I don't care what you say, as long as you back it up with logic, okay? Use the examples that you got from this reading and put it in 2 to 5 sentences. I think Columbus is a hero because of this. I think Columbus is a villain because of this. I think he's complicated because of this and this. Whatever it is, just write it down in 2 to 5 sentences and make a good effort. And guys, that is going to be it for today's lesson. I don't know if I'm going to be back on Wednesday. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But until next time, guys, this has been Mr. Passeri with another exciting social studies lesson. And I will see you guys in the very near future. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving. And bye-bye.